Kia ora koutou. Ko puhanga tōra te maunga, ko puna ki tere te awa, ko ngā toki mata whaurua te waka, ko ngāpu i te iwi, ko ngā te ue ono te hapu, ko pira ahau. Ko Nicole toku hoa rangatira, no kei konei ia. Ko taonga mai te rangi, David, Joseph, Karipa, aku tamariki, e noho ana mātou e nāi nei, ki o mai o Stoke. So, kia ora, I'm Pete. I'm from Ngāpuhi, and my wife Nicole. We have 4 children together and we live in Stoke. And I'm also the Mission to Seafarers chaplain for Port Nelson. So Mission to Seafarers has been operating since 1856. Originally started in England, and it was a chaplaincy to support the merchant navy. The chaplains before me were James Nelson, but Mission to Seafarers Nelson has changed over the last few years. So originally it was based around the mission centre, but since the last couple of years we're now focused on visiting the ships and taking the ministry to the ships on board. Mainly due to because of the short turnaround. So a lot of ships come in, discharge cargo, and then they load, refuel, resupply, and they're gone as quick as possible. So it's not like the old days where seafarers could come ashore, and since the window is so small, we have to now visit the ships. So when we go on board, there's a couple of things we're looking for. The major things we're looking for is MLC breaches. So that's like slave labour, that's human rights abuses, and things like that. And mainly because the international crew, when they come to Nelson, especially some ships won't allow us on board, and so those are the ships that we know that there's something seriously wrong. There's been ships under arrest. Slave labour is quite common and has had a history not only here in Nelson but around the rest of the world. And also the other thing we're looking for is people who are close to suicide. So up to 60% of the crew, according to our stats, suffer from depression because the average contract is 9 months at sea, and so people are a long time away from home, from their families. They miss out on birthdays, funerals. Since COVID in our current capacity, originally we were not allowed on ships because of COVID restrictions, but now we've been classed since July as essential workers. So under COVID, seafarers are no longer allowed to come ashore. So what we offer seafarers under COVID restrictions is free Wi-Fi, which is provided by Port Nelson. Now the Wi-Fi is important because pre-COVID they were able to get off the ships and they were able to either get data or go to town where there was free Wi-Fi, or come to the centre where there's free Wi-Fi and be able to contact home. So a common thing you see when we go on board the ship under COVID is you'll give the free Wi-Fi to the guys, and then they'll make contact with their families, and then the tears will start rolling down their eyes because they haven't seen their family since February, some people, since January, since COVID restrictions started. So Wi-Fi is big for them, and to be able to contact home. And also we do shopping for them as well. So pre-COVID they could go to the warehouse or to Countdown and especially get things like sanitary stuff, hygiene, toothpaste, all that kind of stuff. So things that they don't no longer have access to in terms of shopping, we can now provide that for them. Okay, so the biggest challenge facing them under COVID is at the moment there's over 300,000 seafarers who are stranded on their ships at the moment. So as I said before, average contract will be 9 months. But now, because of COVID and border closures, some of them have been, I was talking to one the other day, he was 9 months over, so he's been 18 months. So some of them are now 15, 16, 17, 18 months, and they can't disembark anywhere. and they can't get home. COVID is real for a lot of these guys. Some of them are trapped on their ships. They can't go home to funerals. And a lot of the crew depending on which countries they come from. Main seafaring countries are India, China, and the Philippines, and all have been hit hard by COVID. So there's a lot of grief on many of the ships. There's a lot of grief in terms of losing family and friends and unable to attend or be there at home. And so a lot of them are carrying heavy hearts. So definitely need prayer for them, those guys who are mourning, those who can't get home, those who have lost income, those who are under slave labour conditions, those who are operating under breaches of international maritime law. So at the moment it's a humanitarian crisis around the world, and these guys are coming into our own city, and yeah, they definitely need a lot of prayer and support. Things were tough before COVID, but COVID has multiplied their hardships, and there are some reports that the seafaring community haven't experienced this amount of hardship since World War II. So a lot of prayer is needed. Another thing that is needed is in terms of the missions themselves, talking about New Zealand, Nelson, and around the world. Before COVID, it was hard to get funding to support the ministries. Since then, it has become even harder. So ministries have typically ran on dregs, and fortunately at the moment, the government has put through some relief funding. But going forward, funding is always an issue, and is always going to be at the forefront of the survival of missions. So if there's any help in terms of that, it would be much appreciated. Just on behalf of Mission to Seafarers Nelson, I'd like to thank the Anglican community here in Nelson, because the support has gone, generations back. I'm sorry, I don't know the history, but there have been many chaplains, there have been many supports coming through the years, and I'd just like to thank the Anglican community for supporting Mission to Seafarers, and bless you all. Thank you.